Actually, there's no election. So if they come out with it again next year and it has the same criteria on the NOFO, there'll probably be election security in there again. Now, if we do wanna upgrade on some more election security type issues, I can include that. It's just not a requirement this year.
Well, I want you to get a grant for election security for Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and places like that.
That's out of my area.
I make a motion, you can apply for the grant.
I'll second the motion.
Okay? We got a motion and a second to, I'd like to apply for a Homeland Security grant for 2021. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you, sir. The next one that's on here is the VHF Communications. Of course, you know, that's off the Harley Tower, which has been a point of contention with you guys in the council and everybody for a long time. That's the tower that we leased. However, the VHF Communications is the primary communications for the 7 fire departments, county highway, and is a backup communication system for all the first responders within the county. There's been multiple patches that have gone on that system throughout the years, and the system's degraded. Pretty much to where, depending on where you're at, you can't hear it. And Cameron will attest to it. The fire departments carry a pager with them, and they use it to page out for, of course, their alarms. Kind of looks just like that one. Almost everyone has one like that one. Depending on where you are in the county, is if you receive the signal or not. And what's causing that problem is all these multiple patches that have gone through the phone lines that go out to that tower. And it's no fault of the phone company in that. It's just, you got 3.5 miles of phone line and junction boxes. I think there's 7 of them between here and there. And mice get in there and they chew up the line, and then they patch it, and then they go to the next one and patch it. So what Cassie and I are asking for is permission to do some research and do some alternatives to where we can keep this communication system that's vital to public safety and the citizens of the county. I've done some talking to some guys, with some different contractors, just on an informal basis, and costs, depending on what we go with, could range up to $50,000 to fix this. And it would be going to something like a microwave system. But what I want to see is do a cost benefit analysis, because if we go to a microwave system, we can get rid of those phone lines. I don't know how much, I gotta find out the circuit, I got the circuit IDs, I just have to find out how much we pay per month for those phone lines.
It'll probably will pay for itself.
And it might be, and that's what I gotta figure out. So I gotta do a cost benefit analysis to it and that, but before I went any further in discussions with anybody and really develop and putting more time into this, I wanted to get your guys' permission to work with Cassie and start talking to some people about the potential of upgrading the system.
And you don't want the fire department not to know where they're gonna go, that's my, I don't think it could cost anything but time between him and Cassie to research and bring us back with what they think needs to be done.
And then, of course, the quotes and the price thing.
I'm in favor of that.
One and two, it's right up in the building and the other.
Right now, it's,
Those just gonna get worse.
Well, as I've said before, the times I've been out with the police, especially a few years ago, they get a call and I couldn't understand it at all, what was going on there, and it.
You get half of it.
right, now, that's on the 800 system.
Yeah.
And since we added that antenna on the RMC tower, that is greatly
Much
increased.
better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it just made me realize that, to me, it's unconscionable to have first responders and everybody out there and not have any communication system that works. We need to do this. So, I'd entertain a motion here.
I'll make a motion to have Mike work with Cassie to better our VHS.
I got a to, endorse Mike's plan of looking into, a better system. All in favor, say aye.
And while we're on that, I was over there with 911, young lady. Our backup system is still not up and running. Council refused to give them the money to operate that. So right now, we've got big holes in our jail, which I was in there, and it's a mess. So they was working in there where they had to cut holes in the floor anyway, and they had to deal with that while they was trying to answer phone calls. So I don't know what we need to do to get our backup system.
Now, you're talking about the backup in the floor.
Cause you have to have your license, then you gotta have the equipment installed.
We bought all the equipment, right? We bought the consoles and everything,
Yes, the equipment's been purchased.
but there's, question of the council not wanting to pay for having it hooked up?
Right. The fee system. Because there's a monthly fee that goes with it, because you have to have the license. Am I right, Mike, on that?
You'd have to talk to Cassie about that.
I know,
Way
she was
outside
explaining
my-
it to me, and I'm like.
There's a licensing that goes with it, I do know that, you have to get your FCC license and stuff, I don't know if it's a monthly fee, an annual fee, a
And-
5-year fee, that's.
It's not only what could it be the backup system, she can sit over there too, and she can do training on that system, and it still interact with the. We have backup system. Yeah, we need it. I don't know what we need to do to get it done,
Well,
but it needs done.
We've already got the contracts with Flora and everything to do it.
Right.
To house it under there.
Now it's the money situation.
Well, we need to, I guess, go back to the council again.
But, I mean, it's, how long we had that over there now?
Well,
I thought we was up and running, and I asked her how it
It's
was working.
been 19 when we got the consoles,
Yeah, it was a couple years.
is when we did the beginning of 20.
Right, but it took us a while.
Yeah, 1920,
Yeah,
it's,
right, yeah.
where are they sitting?
I think they're still at the, whoever, we have.
they might be at Raycom still, I don't
Right.
know.
You know, date before it gets stolen.
Well, technology keeps going, they're already moved up from the 6,000 to the 6,500
Yeah,
on the mobiles, radios.
I don't know what we need to do to make the council say we need that, because if just for some reason that saw blade hit wire, I'm saying it's going to, but Sweeter had no system at all for anybody.
We're seeing with the backup system, you'd have the time of actually operator getting up, moving over to it and starting up again, but that'd be probably a lot less than you just have a hole in the ground out there, you gotta figure out which wire goes to which.
It'll be faster picking up, moving over there than having Lafayette or somebody bring their trailer and trying to help it.
Well, when we had the fire over there on Father's Day 2 years ago, the MOC, when we were trying to get that over to use it, it was already being used, and I don't know right now if it's up or not. And then for IFSIC to bring down one of their towels or another system, you're looking at several hours to do coordination.
Silver hours compared to half hour to drive.
Well, you're in charge of keeping that ball rolling.
I'll
We need-
try.
We need to keep this on the front of our minds, because I thought we'd already had it rolling, and
Yeah, that's what I thought too, and Cassie looked at it and she said, council, wouldn't give her the money. Or approve the contract or whatever it was.
we need to find out about that. Can we ask for Cassie to come in at the next meeting and address us on this? Okay. Anything else, sir?
I was gonna cover Joyce's real quick, cause she's the only one down in the health department, she asked me if I'd cover it down for her. Earlier, or late last year, I know Valerie and Joyce had talked to you guys on several occasions about a $40,000 grant that they had applied for, or asked permission to apply for it. They finally got it approved, and they got notification that they do have this $40,000 grant. What they did know is if it ever got advertised or anything, so they wanted me, or they were gonna come up and ask you for advertisement on this reimbursable grant. What that grant is for is specifically for operational expenses for the vaccine.
I will tell you, it has not been advertised because I do not have a copy of the grant. I do not have a copy of the grant, approval, and they actually didn't ask for it to be approved, so, yes, no, it's not been approved. It's not been advertised.
It just comes out of their funding, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
The 40,000 is a roof.
It's a reimbursable grant, just like the one that he asked for earlier, that you just advertise and make another fund grant. And you just have to have all your ducks in a row, and, that isn't that.
So Beth, what do we have to do to get the ducks lined up?
You need to,
Motion to
He's
approve
asking.
and motion to advertise.
right,
Motion to approve.
That's my motion.
Motion second already here for, approving the grant and for advertising. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passed. And thanks for taking care of that, Mike.
Thanks, Michael.
Anything else that needs to come before the board? Yes, sir.
Here we go.
We want a new saddle again for dead horse.
They need money for it, in order.
keep, I,
Alright.
So can I say one thing?
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. She just sent me this, the job description. She said most of the duties that we were trying to add are already in the correct job. The one that she had at the highway department was a 2009, and the most recent was a 2015. So she said most of those duties have been added to the 2015 job description. But she made the changes that were not in there, so that's.
But I notice it still has the office manager rather than, what was it described on here? Highway administrative assistant?
Right, she wants to know if you guys wanna change that, cause right now it is currently office manager.
I think we just need to leave that up to Kent. When he settled in, and then the guys talk about it, and he can bring it back to us next
And
meeting.
I'm gonna give him a copy of this, and Kelsey too, cause I don't
Yeah,
think she's
please do.
seen, I'll give you a copy of the 2015 one and the one they just revised, so you can compare them. Then when you're done.
okay.
And just bring it back, have him bring it back to us on the 15th, with his recommendation.
Good.
Alright. Thank you, Toby.
Okay, we'll put this under the heading of good news, bad news. First of all, we are, as I speak, operational again as far as the jail operations. We're bringing inmates back to the jail from White County this morning. I learned, while they were doing the lining process, they got into a couple of lines that, these are the lateral lines, if you will, I guess the easiest way, I'm no plumber. So, easiest way for me to describe it is the tree branches off the trunk of the tree. These are the lines, two of the lines, and I've got photographs here with me, that I can share with you. But two of the lines, they discovered are also broken down. In essence, much like what was believed in the beginning, with the under portion of the main line being dissolved or corroded, we have the same thing in two of the lateral lines. Now, the lateral lines involved here that are corroded involve a line that runs basically under our janitorial room of the jail and all the way back into the property room, which is right there in the garage area. The other line is a lateral line that feeds toward the mechanical room. If remember, it's the room just inside the public lobby entrance there at the front of the building. So that's the two lines. The photographs, I will admit, I tried to blow them up to gain a little more detail, but actually cut with the other direction on me. And I have those if you want to take a look at
Have to
them.
stick them up there if you would, Toby,
Okay.
please.
There's three of them on each one of these, and the darker areas that you see is actually sand, from what I was told, that is feeding up from the bottom of the line. So much like what we had with the main lines, now these are the lip lateral lines. I don't know how many other lateral lines are affected, but basically the way it was explained to me was that obviously when the jail was built, all these lines were put in at the same time, so guess what? They're all dissolving and corroding at the same amount of rate. So, I've already discussed with AccuDig and coming in to scope all lateral lines to determine, A, what needs to be repaired, and B, to obviously gain a quote on what that repair will be. So, in my opinion, circles back around to the saddle, the new saddle and the dead horse scenario. You know, and I'm sure hoping, sure not hoping for this, but I had a little voice in the back of my mind telling me that what else we're gonna be getting into as we go along with this, you know? So anyway, again, the plus is we're back in business. Inmates coming back in today. Now I was told that getting this fixed, again, for now, they didn't plan for this, I'll put it that way. And so they didn't have the equipment or preparation to get into this, either one of these lines they at least discovered. But again, the bigger picture, I think they wanna come back in and put the net out over the whole scenario and determine exactly what does need to be fixed. That way we encompass all of it.
Are all those drains in use?
This
Yes,
one here he's talking about comes out of janitor room, so every time the inmates do their cleaning, they gotta use the sink that's in the floor is what I call it.
right,
Then
Bomb
he-
sink kind of thing?
Yep.
yeah,
And the other one that's in the lobby is for like the overflow of the water heater, the air conditioning units that drain down into it, and the public bathroom
correct,
that comes over.
yeah.
Are those 4-inch lines also?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
My biggest concern is they should have checked all these before we went in and did the main drain.
Yeah. But when one of the contractors made the comment to me that the lines were obviously put down the same time back in the mid-80s, you know, it's all corroding at this point. So,
All 40 years old.
yeah, yeah. So,
But the lateral lines are not used as much as the main lines, but they'll still corrode to some extent. You see, that's why you check the main lines first and lateral. But the problem with the lateral lines, you're gonna have to pull the toilets and they got to get the cameras down, right? Or they're gonna backtrack through the main line.
they actually were able to do this by a backtrack through the main line.
And have one of those $200,000 cameras. That's what they cost.
It's expensive.
Yeah. But they show a very good picture. Got
Yeah.
that last week.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So,
do.
show a very good situation. But I'm not too sure to do this, do they go down through the main line again, do the lateral, or will they have to start with the port and everything go that way?
I don't know what their process is with that.
Well, it's not gonna cost us anything from, see what it's doing. Or what's it gonna cost to do all the scoping and then the estimate?
I don't have that yet.
Because the other lateral lines are ones from the cell and maybe are used.
Pretty often. Yeah. And I have these photographs in digital form if anyone is interested in having it.
I don't think these things ever bring them.
So,
This is not something that can be helped by a roto-rooter type of thing, or?
no, because the way I explained it, this line, this is a very good photo. This is actually the line that feeds in eventually into the property room near the garage. And the clumps, at least particularly toward the left there, the way it was explained to me, that's the sand that is coming up from the corroded
So
portion.
if you send a loader rooter or something through there,
Gonna eat through
it's
the
gonna
bottom.
eat through the bottom of it, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have a
Yeah,
settlement.
yeah.
But could they still do the liner on these after they go through and?
It was my understanding that the answer is no.
Because the
with
bottom's
these.
not there.
Right, because what'll happen, you know, what could potentially happen is if they put that liner in, the sand can potentially still seep in, and the sand will carry that, or corrode away, or take away that liner that's installed.
He's going through walls and everything. This is not good.
Is there any way to flush that down through there? Put a lot of water through it?
Again, if they flush it, you know, again, still pulling up
Same.
underground material.
Might find you in Apple.
I have a question, Tucker.
Yeah.
Are they, if they have to fix these new skins, are they gonna put anything around them to protect it, so this don't happen again in 40 years? Not like, I wouldn't say an insulation, but something, obviously these draw a lot of moisture, or they're down below the ground. Is there anything they can put around it to where in 40 years you don't
Yeah.
have to have this building go through that again?
Probably plastic when they put it.
I would,
Does it
yeah,
go to PVC?
yeah, I was gonna say, the way the discussion was going was toward PVC.
This is old iron.
Yeah.
A lot of it in soil, kind of,
Right.
acid and soil.
Then it's just go, because we're gonna connect it to the pipe we just lined, and that can bring issues again too, and they'll have to fix that.
Unless you gentlemen advise me differently, I'm gonna go ahead and pursue, at least a quote or two, and seeing what it's gonna entail to get these lateral lines up to date or up to proper, usage. And,
Please be aware, I was involved with this company here coming last week, they're paid $2.45 an hour to have a camera. So there's gonna be a cost here, $1,000 cost just to find out what's going on more. You can be aware of that, so if you need to, give me the okay to do that now, not turn around and come back in the next process. He's $2.45 an hour, I believe.
Yeah,
With these $200.
I think anybody with a camera is gonna be salty.
He's, I know where the rates are, and that's within $10 of everybody, we've called
Yeah,
6 or 7 companies, so he's within the realm of everything, but there's gonna be a cost for it, it's not gonna be free.
Right, right, I agree.
Do they drain now?
Yeah, everything we know at this point seems to be doing okay, that's the thing, I mean, you know, right, as they advised me, you know, we're okay for now, but obviously we don't wanna sit on it and, you know, wait forever on this.
Sometimes the best thing is to sit on it. Work the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, there's 8 cells, you got the kitchen, 9,
Most of these two.
you got the holding cells, 10, laundry room, 11, 12, 13,
Your simple branches.
so about 14, 15 branches.
But
between
anything less than 4 inches won't work though, right? You have to replace the piping less than 4 inches, they can't line a 2 inch.
Yeah, cause all of them got toilets.
Yeah, so, you know, they can line the 4, but they can't line the small one.
Yeah. And that's why the discussion came up about the PVC discussion, and having to replace 6 with PVC potentially.
Which means all the floors have to go out.
So what will your count be today? When everybody comes back?
19.
19?
Yeah. So,
Thanks for letting us know about this, we're gonna be looking ahead to see what happens. You're going to have it explored.
I'm over to it. Thank you, gentlemen.
While we're still on this subject, have you guys decided if we wanted to put out for bids for our manager for the new jail? I think we need to either get moving on it or just wait for sitting or
We need,
to advertise and see if we'd like to do the, or even do we even want one? I don't know, if 3 of us has got enough time to be out there every day to make sure everything's going good.
our choice, I thought, was the manager or have the architectural firm do it.
Right.
There'd be additional cost factor.
Sure. there will.
I think we could do something. Can't build it overnight, so maybe do something right. We've done what was asked before, and that didn't go, we gotta look at a different direction, I think. We'll work with council and get something going. Still, we don't want to build something out of it,
Right.
too small. The figure we have, then that's a good enough.
We won't know the figure until we hire somebody to do all the thing that Jack did. That's what we'll be doing.
Design, that, there's a cost.
I don't think we need to redesign it, I just think maybe we just cut some cells up, leave the wall up, then we can add to that later.
They're gonna say $3 million,
It might. You never know.
$4 million, what we would say.
But,
Closer to 4, isn't it?
yeah, but you know, the smaller you are, the more it costs. And I don't understand that, but.
More cost per bed.
Right.
You get a quantity discount.
But I think maybe if you guys wanna have somebody like Jack, I think we need to advertise it, that way we start the ball.
Well, we criticized last time, we took recommendation of the committee,
Right.
but I understood.
Yep. We did.
Suggest.
The committee did all the work for us, all we had to do is say we'll take it.
As far as the construction guys, you know, we approved the things, so much. So now we're looking at, we have this amount of money, what can we get to? But we don't know, because the bids, what you.
Well, I think the big issue is council didn't like the individual we hired to manage their department. I think that's the biggest issue. I think we can come up with the money. I really do. I just think they didn't like their construction manager. And they weren't involved in the process. That's not good. So I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and advertise for construction manager. At least advertise to, if anybody be interested. They may not be the way things run with Jack. Shoot, nobody might wanna do it. You know what I mean?
What does this advertisement entail?
Well, it's,
What would it say, Jed?
I'm not sure. I'd have to research it. I assume it would be, you would be requesting proposals. I think I would have to have input from the architect on how to word it, so that you've got the variety that you need to get of
so maybe we need to have our architect here next week, at our next meeting, or next meeting, to maybe kinda help guide us where we need to go from here.
I think that's absolutely true. If we're gonna go from here, we need to start back with him and say, okay,
What, you know, what,
Yeah.
yeah, where we're at
we
now.
haven't built a jail before, so
Right.
we have to go with those who have.
So I don't know if we can get Elvon's here. Code, you think they would show back up?
No, honest?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
I like to
You
invite
just
them
call and
back.
ask them.
Like to invite them
What'd
back
you
on
say, Joe?
50.
All you have to do is call and ask them.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay. I'm good with that.
All right, anything else come before the board? Yes, sir.
Just a easy question, the lab, Abby and Libby thing for 60,000, did that get appropriated
Yes.
for the thing, so they got
They already
paid?
had their check, yes.
And the next thing is, or three things, the second thing is, I was here at a meeting, you proposed some extra taxes. It seemed like every year we're wanting $50 extra for real estate tax or income taxes. We set some taxes up to help pay for this jail, I believe, to be able to pay for the thing. As a citizen from outside, I know that the way government works, it seems like that when the money sits there, somebody uses it. Is that money gonna be earmarked for the jail and only the jail, so it can't be touched for anything else?
That's not how county government works. County government has it in a fund and nobody can touch it unless it's a jail, project.
So
expense.
this money won't go away for some other project that feels
No,
necessary?
we cannot do that. We have an ordinance on that.
And then the last thing is I'm gonna set Sue well with everybody, and throw me out if you like, but from a point of view, this last year has been different for business than ever. County government, city government, everything's gonna change. I think everybody's got to get together, the county government, whoever's involved, and see what goods and service you wanna take care of for the county citizens. Because there could be some goods and service you're gonna have to give up, because I'm already seeing, this guy wants more money, this guy wants more money, it's costing more. You're gonna decide sooner or later, rather than increase the tax base, that let the individual people, they can do that cheaper than we can. Government is not efficient or effective in a lot of areas. It's a necessary evil. You have to have government to make things work. But it don't mean the government has to do a lot of these things that maybe they shouldn't be doing, the private sector should be doing, because we're more efficient at it. We can use money better than the government can. And I really think we're gonna figure out what you wanna use a good service, because your healthcare benefits aren't going down. Your healthcare costs, I've seen it just go like this, and your employees' wages, with what's happening nationwide, you're gonna need near 30–40% in the next 3 years to pay wages for county employees. And somebody's gotta decide, rather than keep taxing us, is what you're gonna do and what you're gonna provide. Cameron does a wonderful job.
What do you think we should cut?
I don't know, Cameron does a wonderful job in this job. So does the other guy, the EMA director. But what is benefit that we do? Do we need to give him an extra $60,000 a year to pay? We need to set for every position and figure out, what can we pay for the county? What do we need to get for the county? You know, Cameron, he's worth $80–90,000 a year maybe, he needs another $50,000, but it seems like every department comes along, we need another 30 for this, 30 for this, 30 for this. We get to the point where, Cameron, we need you to do this. EMA director, we need you to provide this service for the county, no more, we can't afford it more. And that's gonna be a hard nose to do, because we gotta pay for jail somewhere here too, no matter what we look at. But that's tough. Somebody got together and said, do we wanna provide this service for the county, or do we not want to? How much of this service do we wanna provide for the county? And then on the other end, it seems like every time we go to the APC meeting there tonight, and they want $50 for a split rather than 25. You know, I've already paid taxes to get a lot of stuff, and every time we get ready to do something, we're gonna charge an extra $25 for a land split now. Where do you draw the line? Sooner or later, doesn't the county need to provide something for the taxes we pay rather than charging us for everything we do? It's a fine line. You know, what do you need to provide? What do you need to charge the people for? What do you need to take care of for the county? Because I think it's gonna come to that. You're not gonna have enough money to fund everything you wanna do in the next 3 or 4 years. It's not gonna get easier.
I think you're right, and I think that all three of us are very willing to listen to anybody who has any ideas about what we should do too.
I don't have any ideas. I think you need to sit down with the council and figure out what do you wanna fund.
Yeah.
Funding part comes from the council.
You can't fund everything you wanna fund.
No,
You can't keep raising taxes to do it.
The jails, you brought up, do we still have the money for the jail? As far as I'm concerned, we should have a lot more money for the jail in years past. They did put money back for the jail facility. They knew that, we knew that years ago, we needed to do something. And nobody, they didn't wanna talk about it.
And we have something gonna last 40 years, you should have, when that thing's gone, you should have enough money to pay for it again. That's good
You
going.
don't have. You know, it's hard to put a roof on the jail a few years ago, if I remember right.
145,000.
Yeah, so I mean, if we do something now, the way I look at it, with what's coming, with, you know, fuel's increasing, we've seen that already, building materials increase, what's it gonna be in a year or two? What's gonna be a time when we go to the contract? We're gonna build a smaller jail, and so it's gonna be the same thing that we had.
It's gonna come in more money for a smaller jail. More money for a smaller jail, guarantee you.
That's the risk we're taking.
Well, thank you much for listening, ladies.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
So on a note for healthcare, we are, our team is meeting with Logansport Memorial Hospital's executive leadership team on March 12th to discuss healthcare in the county, not for your employees, but just in general, what resources is Logansport Memorial providing. We're also meeting that same day with IU Health and their leadership team to get a grid scale. So I guess what I'm doing, I want to invite one of you to attend that meeting with us, with Logansport Memorial. So our goal is to bring in some healthcare competition to keep our prices down. If we can provide, if Logansport Memorial is gonna make any investments in our community in the future, and them providing services for our employees is a benefit to them to get that accomplished, then I would welcome that conversation.
Is it during the day?
It is.
Is that just with Logansport, or did you say you were involved? I do too.
So at 9:30 on the 12th, we'll be meeting with Logansport Memorial, their CEO, and then we'll be meeting with IU Arnett's Chief Executive Officer that afternoon at 2 o'clock, same location.
Those same locations?
Yes, sir.
Where's that location?
It'll be out at Pure White RNCR offices as well.
I think that's what you
Yes, sir.
I'm not quite understanding, Chief, what the goal is of this. What are you, you're saying you're wanting competition in the county tell me, I missed it. I'm trying to figure this out. I mean, this whole medical thing's a tough one.
It is. So our goal is to, as an organization, we are meeting with the medical providers that serve our community and trying to get a good understanding of where maybe there are gaps in services for our community. So if there's an area where they're trying to grow at the hospital and they can provide those services to our community. So really, the broad scope is just informational. So just to get an understanding of where they sit with Carroll County. White County has a hospital. We're not asking for services. We're merely just exploring how healthcare is impacting Carroll County and our folks. And our goal is to get as much information as we can. And if we can help if our corporation can help in those meetings with getting better rates for the employees of the county, then I wanna at least have that conversation with them. So, did I answer your question?
One thing that I'd like to have you think about is that when we initially started on the idea of a clinic for our employees, why Indiana Packers wanted us to go with that, and then they decided, no, we don't want you to come in. But there may be other businesses and industries who would like to be partnered in with our clinic. And I don't see any reason why that would be something we wouldn't
Well,
welcome.
right now, if I remember right, Delphi Schools has got their own little clinic in months. There's a little branch over there.
Yeah, so the goal of the conversation, where are our resources as a county going, and how can we consolidate those to help provide better
Save money for
prices and
everybody.
better service for our folks? I mean, that would be the goal, so. That doesn't mean that we will get anything out of it, but it certainly helps that we have 3 healthcare providers within 30-minute drive of our community, and we'd like to bring them as close to home as possible.
And you're not thinking in terms of Franciscan down there, it's just,
I think Ascension, which is Ascension owns St. Priscan, the Saint, I believe it's the Saint, in Lafayette. And that's Ascension Health. So, yeah, Ascension Health, we would speak with them as well.
Ascension.
Yes, they own that whole conglomerate. So, yeah, they're certainly on our list to get to see who are they serving, what are they serving in the community. So, yeah, I mean, the end goal of this for everyone is to get better healthcare access, better healthcare cost. And if we can have a conversation and build some partnerships, then I wanna be able to do that, especially because the county is looking at, going with a provider for their employees.
well, I also think that unity shouldn't be just completely forgotten, because they pulled out of our clinic, doesn't mean that there aren't other things that we might be able to access with them, or that maybe there were flaws in our agreement for the clinic the last time that we didn't get corrected. I mean, that's another big supplier of medical force. And I think they do a pretty good job. I don't know if any of them don't do a pretty good job. I appreciate that. That sounds good. Anything else? Yes.
Earlier, we talked about the clinic up here, it's 5 locations. If you went with them, would county employees be able to go to any one of those locations?
Yes.
And same like Memorial Hospital. The other day I went to Camden and they weren't able to service me, so I went to Logansport Hospital, so maybe the same thing there.
Yes,
Because a lot of times you see that, you're talking about Dr. Anderson, he's in 3 or 4 different places during the week, so if you wanted to see him on Tuesday, you could go where he's at,
right.
and a lot of people do that.
That's the way I understand it.
Thank you.
Depends on the individual if they wanna use that clinic. We had a lot of people that didn't wanna go see Dr. Dutter because it wasn't their primary doctor. It was a free clinic, they had, all they had to do is just go. They chose not to, they went to go ahead and went to their own doctor. Alright, I think we got other uses
Okay. Anything else? Thank you all for attending.
to adjourn.
favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Thank you.